want to talk to you, Jeremy, on something here with the George Floyd ruling and the conviction, and obviously you being a Black American, it's something that I'm sure you were following, and we were very. I don't know about you. I'll ask you: were you surprised that there was a guilty verdict across the board? Did that surprise you?
You know, I guess I didn't think to kind of unpack, will he get only convicted on the
Yeah,
least punitive charge or
yeah.
all three? Like, I just kind of honestly, man, as I was getting push notice and, updates that like the verdict is in, it's feeling kind of uneasy.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't know how it was gonna
Mm-hmm.
go, and I
Mm-hmm.
had some meetings at work. I was like, all right, I'm gonna have to tap out of this meeting. Um, so when the verdict did come in, one obviously glad guilty and guilty on all accounts, but like I think a lot of the feelings people felt, like joy and energy and like justice, and I didn't really feel that,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't know if it's just a me thing, but I kind of, it's like one of those, I think coach analogies, probably what, Belichick or Phil Jackson or someone says, but when you're, one of these teams that win a lot, you win a lot of championships, and the championship again, when you win your third one, it's not like you feel joy and great like when you win the
Mm-hmm.
first one. You just feel relief you didn't lose it.
Yeah,
And I feel like relief. It was like, oh, okay, America isn't on fire today. Like there's
yeah,
not just gonna be riots and what looting and
yeah,
police and riot gear. Like I'm relieved we avoided that. And
yeah,
that's about it, you
yeah.
know?
How do you feel about it? Like in terms of that feeling where you sort of say like, well, we didn't let a man that murdered someone in broad daylight that was completely innocent of really, innocent insofar as like he was doing nothing to get murdered, completely innocent person. Um, and we just happened to not let the murderer go. Like, how does that feel to you? Is that why it's generating this feeling of like not really a win in so much as like, wow, we just managed to actually do something halfway decent? Is that how it feels, or is it more just because of the potential specter of violence if he had been let go? Was how you were feeling?
I mean, I think it's twofold. One, certainly the violence, going through that again, and protests are effective, but that was, it starts to weigh on folks, and then there's the outcome. Maybe in black band coworkers and friends, and a
Yeah,
lot of people not black and hit me up like, well, how do you feel?
yeah,
Like, is this America? And it's like, yeah, this has been America for long ass time. But outside of that, it was kind of like this is the best case you can like get unless you just I don't know walk up to a fucking toddler and shoot it in the head. You're like, all right, you have a
yeah,
video of a cop kneeling on a dude for 8 minutes and 46 seconds or whatever. He's screaming for his mom. His video. Like, if this case can't get a conviction, what can?
yeah,
Right.
yeah,
So it's kind of also that specter of like, if this one doesn't win, like justice is not on the table.
yeah.
Again, not. I think this is the low form of justice, right? This is the should be relatively easy case, but if this one doesn't win, I'm like, all right, America, we got even more ahead of us to work on than I think we've acknowledged.
And do you think, have you talked to other black friends of yours or for other friends of yours, do you think that feeling that we saw on the streets of that celebration was more maybe the moment and less like the feeling that you said, like you said, you're basically saying, hey, okay, we met this minimum standard, this like almost textbook case of when they say there's bad apples, like the police chief testified against and all of this stuff.
Mm.
Do you think that, is that a feeling, this feeling, it's not being represented in the media? Do you see it? Have you talked to other people? Does that sense too?
So I've only talked briefly. This is one I probably need to dig in more and see if this is a me thing. I think I could easily see feeling more joy or something on the ground, kind of
Yeah,
gather with others. It's you feel the relief together, and hey, this is great. It's been the pressure's been building up of this outcome, and you kind of okay, you're around other folks, and you can feel joy, happiness. What kind of a work group we have with some black folks and allies. I kind of it's the same sentiment of just being relieved, and it's pretty much responsive like, yep, like you said it, that's that's the words right there, man.
yeah, yeah.
So small sample size, and certainly everyone's gonna have their own feeling about it, but yeah, at least for me, it's not no jumping for joy over here.
Yeah, no, I hear you. It's definitely, and at the end of the day, it's someone got murdered, and
Yeah.
so it's hard to like look at this in any other light, and looking at his family, it's like, what are they going to say? It's like, we're relieved. But, you know, like a 43-year-old man in good health got murdered in broad daylight on videotape. And to me, the fact that there was ever even a question about it shows how broken the system is, you know, like this, like as in it was a legitimate question if you would be convicted. Like the prosecutors threw everything they had at it, right? They brought in special prosecutors. They brought in an expert team, outsiders. They had a huge team working on it. Like they went to the ninth degree because I really think they thought this was a losable case. And that tells you something. The fact that this legal experts would tell you that tells you the starting point where we're at. Like it's the first time a police officer in Minnesota has ever been convicted of killing a black man, despite how many people have died. The first time ever in that state for this happening. And isn't that unbelievable? And it had not been on video. If it had not, it wouldn't have mattered broad daylight. It would not have mattered, I don't think. I think it, like you said, it had to be this perfect. If we can't get this one right, I don't know. But I'm interesting to hear your thoughts, and thanks for sharing. I know sometimes we keep it light on this show, but that's one where
just got one note before we transition. I think that's all, you know, kind of in America, there's a lot of white friends and stuff, and people wanting justice. I like a great quote from one of my boys. Keep that same energy.
Yep.
Like, you know, 2022, I need the same energy of wanting justice and help. It's like, all right, you know, Floyd's down. It is, you know, a couple days later, still need that same energy, dog. And I think that's the thing that innately in me, I just continually question about America. Like, are we gonna keep this up?
Yeah.
But yeah, I know we transition out, but you know, think everyone on listening, drop that, keep that same energy. That's the message I want you to take away.
And how, but like on that though, I think it's an important one too. You like, it's caring, but it's doing as well, you know. And I'm sure, like you said, you have friends from a lot of racial backgrounds, and I'm sure people have asked you, hey, what can I do? You know, keep the energy, keep caring. But what would you say? You know, is it what would you say to someone that asked you, what can I want to keep the energy, Jeremy, but what can I do?
Well, that's a great one. Like in the short term, and this is one where honestly I need to have better answers, because ultimately this is a, I don't know, probably multi-decade problem to deal with. But it's gonna be, how do we police in America? Right. How do we teach police? Who do we allow to be a police officer, and what other systems should we make? Who do we elect for positions? Right? It's like, hey, it's something like, you gotta go. Okay, we elected a police chief. Like, all right, think about who you are electing. But yeah, it is one personally. I do need more research on my own to have better answers, because it's not like one magic solution here, right? It's going to be a lot of different fronts that we're going to have to attack this. So I think that's fair on you to kind of ask, and I'll kind of let's we can revisit this.
Let's revisit it because I know that there is a lot of stuff going on with police reform. But to your point, it's a comprehensive situation. So yeah, I'd love to revisit that, because I want to do my part, and I want to be part of the solution, and not a bystander. And I'd love to sort of continue that conversation with you. So yeah, well, thanks for sharing. I know this is one where it's just like, it's crazy that we're at this point to me. But honestly, to your point, you made it earlier that I remember you saying on a past podcast where you said, when people talk to me and meet me, they forget that I've been black for 38 years. And that really hit me of like, hey, this is not like, you might be experiencing this because you're with me. And I've been with you where I've seen you face discrimination, and sort of like, hey, you know, this is my life. And that's something where I think, like you said, we got to keep the energy up on it. And I really appreciate you sharing that last night. It really stuck with me of like, I've been black for 38 years and this is not new, you know, and that really hit me of like, wow. Like, and people talk about checking your privilege and recognizing your privilege, but like, I had never thought of it that way, and I've known you for so long. So man, okay. I appreciate you sharing. And I know that's a heavy one.